Alright, while I was washing my car, I found this rust spot on the lower panel of my truck. And what I'm doing now is I'm just peeling back any of the paint on this section to expose the rust so I can see how big it is. And you can see I've mostly done it already. I just gotta chip away a little bit more to see how deep this goes. Just give you an idea for the size of it. Here it is, the whole truck. Alright, now that I got the area fully exposed, I'm going to start to grind away this rust. I don't want any more of it left. All of the surface rust is knocked off, but there is still some deep black rust that I need to grind off. And there's still some black area on there, and I want to really try to grind away all of this black area. Okay, and that's looking pretty good to me now. We got it down to the metal, and now we can start to look to prime and paint this area. So there's a little bit of texture here that I hope to try to fill in, and I'm going to do it with a little bit of Bondo. It's just right on that borderline, I think, of whether it needs Bondo or just some touch-up, but I feel like you'd really be able to see it, so I'm going to mix a small amount and put it on there and sand it smooth. But now I'm going to put some Rust Reformer on it. It's sort of like a primer. But we're not going to necessarily paint right over this part. Just put the Rust Reformer. So I prepared this box with some saran wrap on it. Alright, we got our Bondo. I probably overdid it right there. Now we got our hardener. And now we're going to mix it. Okay, it's all the same color now, so I'm going to start trying to apply this to the car. Alright, now that our body filler Bondo has hardened and dried, I'm going to sand it a little bit. I'm now moving to an 80 grit sandpaper. Alright, now I'm going to use a 180 grit sandpaper. And now a 400 grit. So now what I want to do is tape off the area that I want to get painted. You see I started, I don't want to paint the door at all, that was pretty much untouched. But maybe I want to cut my lines to right around there. So I'm going to mark off the top section and tape it off with some paper. And I'm just using some lightly bent paper so I can feather the paint up there. Okay, now we got an approximate area that we can spray some primer into. Alright, so here is some automotive primer, and I'm just going to get in and spray the areas that we eventually want to paint. Okay, so now I'm going to lay down my second coat of primer. And we're just going to let that dry. Now that our primer's down, I'm going to go with adding a coat of paint. And then we'll let that dry and we'll add another coat to it. And then we're going to add another coat. And now I'm going to put some clear coat over this painted section. And we're going to let that dry. And now I'm just going to apply one more light coat of clear coat. And I'll let that dry. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet sand this area that has the new layer of clear coat on it with an extremely fine sandpaper. All right, now we have a little cloudy area right here where we did the new paint, the new clear coat, and the sanding. So we're going to try to smooth that out with some scratch remover. So put some of this on a towel. Start rubbing it in. All right, there we are. Can you tell? Let's get a little closer. If you look really closely, you can sort of tell where we painted. But step back a bit, and it's a little bit tougher, so it blends in pretty well. Now, if I wanted to, I could try to start sanding it some more and then go over with the scratch remover a bit more to get that evened out a little bit more. But to me, it's looking pretty good. Here. I can wet this down a little bit more, go over it with the fine sandpaper a little bit more, see if I can blur those lines a little bit more, but it's, you know, I'm pretty satisfied with it the way it is. And while this is not a professional job, it did not cost professional money either. Probably put in $35 in the things that I needed for this. I already had some of it though, to be fair. I had the clear coat already. And there you go. That's where the rough spot was. If I wipe off this scratch remover, it'll look even better.